Once learning becomes more conceptual and more connected across grades, gaps stop staying where they began. They travel, then they compound, they become bigger. This is one of the most important things schools need to understand. Earlier, a student could be weak in one earlier chapter and still survive later just through repetition or rote memorization and exam-oriented preparation. That becomes much harder when later learning assumes earlier understanding. Let's take a concrete class 9 style algebra situation. A student may be asked, the numerator of a fraction is 3 less than the denominator. If 5 is added to both numerator and denominator, the fraction becomes 3 on 4. Find the original fraction. A student may say, I do not understand this chapter. But what is really happening? The problem is not only algebra. The student may be weak in fractions, in maybe integer operations, in translating words into equations, and in checking whether the final answer makes sense. So although the visible struggle is in class 9, the actual weakness may sit in class 6, 7 or 8. Now look at your classroom from the teacher's side. The teacher begins the chapter. Some students follow, some look uncertain, some are already lost. The teacher then faces a dilemma. Your teacher then faces a dilemma. Should I stop and reteach earlier concepts from 6, 7 and 8? Or should I continue because the current syllabus also has to be completed on time? What do most teachers do? They move ahead. They have to. That means the weaker student does not simply remain weak. The weaker student starts falling further behind as classes progress. Now science shows the same pattern. Say a scooter is moving at a constant speed on a straight road. It then suddenly brakes and slows down. Before braking, were the forces balanced or unbalanced? What changes when the scooter slows down? A student who memorized definitions of force and motion may still get stuck here. Why? Because the student has to connect motion, balanced versus unbalanced forces, and change in speed in one explanation. So the chapter looks like a class 9 chapter, but the confusion often sits in earlier half understood ideas. So the classroom creates an illusion. It looks like the chapter is difficult, but often the real issue is that chapter is standing on a missing foundation. This is why schools begin to notice more doubts, slower pace, lower confidence, and greater spread in performance. And again, this is not a criticism of teachers. It's a structural consequence of cumulative learning meeting uneven foundations. But CBSE has now added something else that makes this even more serious. The same class can now contain not just weak and average students, but also students opting for more advanced maths and science. And that changes the complexity of the classroom again.